Bum. 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 It sounds like we're in a big movie, right?
It's got a little bit of that theme to it.
Today's Wildcat Wednesday, brought to you by PGA Tour Superstore, located. I'm trying to do the movie, like the movie voice guy.
In a world where Wildcat Wednesday is presented by PGA Tour Superstore.
Ooh, that's pretty good. You know what? Today on the program, you know what? I've been kind of grumpy the last couple days.
Right.
I'm getting to be a grumpy old man.
I mean,
shut up! I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it out of you. I don't want to hear it out of you because I know I just said it, and you just smile from ear to ear. Yes, I know. I'm getting to be a grumpy old man. I don't know why. People are just making me mad, right?
There's been a lot of talk this week about how things are not the way you want them to be or that they should be.
That's why I'm America's role model. If everyone would just pay attention to what I have to say, the world would be a lot better, right? We'd have more barbecue. Every kid would get ice cream after dinner. Pizza wouldn't be considered a meal. It's just a snack, and I would declare it non-caloric. Arizona would win every game, and Arizona State would lose every game.
That would be a good universe.
That would be if I was I don't know what superhero. Who's the superheroes that now I'm snapping like Thanos. I don't want to be Thanos. I don't want half of you. I don't want half of you all to leave. But if I could be one of those superheroes that could change everything, what's the one thing that you would do? Okay, so let me make this easier. Can you hear that? Can you hear that?
Yep.
Okay, that's me rubbing the genie's bottle.
Oh, I thought you were doing the Mr. Miyagi.
No, because Mr. Miyagi can't change the entire world. But if I could just change one thing, what would you do today? If you could just change one thing, what would you do today? Snap your fingers and something different happens.
I'd probably go ahead and I'd probably try to get the burger instead of the chicken sandwich for lunch today.
Some people would say I'd cure cancer. Some people would say I'd have world peace. Dragon Ball decided he had a poor choice for lunch.
Yeah, probably. A little bit of a poor choice for lunch.
Stop it. You're making me laugh. And I'm going to start coughing. All right. There you go. You wouldn't want to win the lottery? Well, we already talked about it. If you won the lottery, it'd be the biggest waste.
I would be the most boring lottery winner of all time.
I won the lottery. Let me see if I can just stuff it in my mattress.
Pretty much.
All right. I'm not getting sucked into your Dragon Ball hole today, ruining the program. We will, though, have a lot to discuss on the show today. So what are we going to talk about? A lot of NBA. It's Wildcat Wednesday, so we went into the Wayback Machine. We got you 3. I'm going to do 3 today, Dragon Ball. 3. 3 is the magic number. We're doing 3 of them.
3.
Wildcat Wednesday features today. First hour, we're going to talk with Trevor Crow. Former Major League Baseball player, former Arizona Wildcat. Debbie Day will also join us on the program because Arizona softball and baseball, respectively, will have senior days coming up on Saturday.
Yes.
Don't look at me like I don't know what I'm talking about. I actually looked that up. So Saturday, they'll have senior day for both squads, honoring, I think, the softball team has 4. The baseball team has 6 seniors they'll be honoring. So those are coming up this weekend. And Arizona baseball's got a huge game coming up this week. In fact, Brian Jeffries is going to join us today, right? 5 o'clock?
Yes.
We'll talk with Brian Jeffries. He joins us exclusively every week here on Wildcats Radio 1290. So we'll talk with Trevor Crow, Debbie Day, and then where are we going last hour?
Last hour, we'll go ahead and we'll talk with Bennett Davison.
Wow. You went deep into the Wayback Machine.
Mm-hmm.
Men's basketball star.
Go ahead and honor the fact that Arizona Wildcats have 3 players going to the NBA Combine this upcoming, going into the NBA draft this year.
Well, we're going to talk about that coming up on the program. So all of that's on the agenda for today, plus your telephone calls. And again, I know there's a ton of people that listen. We know that because we give things away. Boom, phones light up. But I sometimes I run through like a steamroller and don't get to all the telephone calls. So I need to do a better job of that. And I do a poor job of that on this program. So I'm going to start doing a better job of that. Tonight, by the way, if you want a double dose of Rich here on 1290, I'm hosting today's show. I'm going to go home, take a little bit of a break, take a little nap, grab some dinner, and then I'll be back tonight at 11 p.m. Nationally on CBS Sports Radio. So I'll have a local show right now, little nap. Calm down, don't yell and scream, and then get excited to do the national show tonight coming up on CBS. So that's coming up at 11 o'clock tonight. So you'll get a double dose of Rich if you can't sleep tonight on 1290. By the way, you can watch the program today. You can see the Dragon Ball cam in our brand new graphics package we put together on Facebook, on YouTube, and our website, Wildcats Radio 1290.com. All right, what are we going to talk about? By the way, you should be very excited today, Dragon Ball.
Oh, yes?
Because the Suns thumped Dallas last night. Booker throws in 28, Ayton throws in 20. Chris Paul didn't stink. And they took it to the Mavs. They just took it to the Mavs. Luka had 28, Brunson had 21, and the rest of the Mavs are just MIA. Suns go up 3-2. What were you going to say?
Well, this whole series has been, up to this point, Luka and the Donchets, as I like to call them, with the Mavs. So,
isn't he original and clever?
Well, I mean, it's not original and clever, but neither is the offense for the Mavericks, because it's Luka Doncic comes down, dribbles for about 24 seconds, and then tries to throw up a prayer or pass it out to the corner. So the fact
You're talking about the MVP of the league. Don't be dissing him.
He's not the MVP of the league.
He's the best player in the league. He should have been.
Over Joel Embiid?
Or Joker or anybody else.
Nikola Jokic?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Luka's
the best.
I will give you Luka is a fantastic player. MVP, not so much.
Not so much.
I would have given it to Joel if I had the vote.
I'm glad you didn't, because he didn't show up to play last night against the Miami Heat.
Well, he didn't, but he also was kind of seeing, he had the issue where he was seeing 3 rims last night, I think, after that smack to the face.
Listen, big-time players make big-time plays.
With a concussion?
If you want to go down and be one of those legends, you want to be Willis Reed, you want to be one of those guys that just wills your team to victory?
Okay, do you not feel the Willis Reed injury is overplayed, though?
No.
It wasn't really as bad as they made it out to be.
The dude could barely walk.
I mean, he wasn't that hobbled.
Stop it. You have no idea what you're talking about. Really? Willis Reed, that
icon? No, I understand. It's an iconic moment.
That's why people say, wow, look at what Willis Reed did on one leg coming back to play.
But people described what exactly was wrong with his leg, and it's it wasn't actually that bad. It was going to be a little bit of a stinger.
Are you mad?
I'm just saying.
Are you crazy?
Looking back in the Wayback Machine,
yes,
it may have been a little overplayed.
Really, that could be the dumbest thing I think I've heard you say on this program.
There's a lot.
How? Okay, describe Willis Reed. Tell everybody what you're talking about.
So this was back when the Knicks were really struggling to try and finally get that world championship back to New York. They had been a constant contender. They hadn't really been a world champion for such a long time.
Nope.
And they went ahead and they were up against the Lakers, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
It was against the Lakers. You finally had a team, Dave DeBusschere, Walt Clyde Frazier, you had Willis Reed, you had all these guys put together to try and finally beat the Lakers. And in a critical game, Willis Reed ends up leaving because of an injury to his leg.
Comes
back and
hobbles through the game. Barely
can walk.
And Dragon Ball says, that's a little overrated. Would you say Kellen Winslow's performance against the Dolphins, where they have to carry him off the field, was a little overrated?
Anybody who has done a 2-hour jog in Miami understands what was wrong with Kellen Winslow. That was cramps. And that's not a great feeling. No one's going to say otherwise. But the fact that he's getting carried off the field like that might be a little.
You're also the guy who's never really been punched
in the groin.
Before.
No.
So do you understand how difficult that is?
I mean, playing through cramps is bad.
You just poo-pooed two of the greatest performances under duress in the history of sports. Really?
I mean, Jim Brown playing on a broken leg. I'll give Jim Brown credit.
Really?
Also,
are you just gonna poison the show with your hot take?
I'll go ahead and I'll say this too. Jack Youngblood's playing on the broken leg in the Super Bowl, also overplayed. It was a hairline fracture. It wasn't a real broken leg.
Come here, let me hairline fracture you. Are you? Did you take stupid pills to come to work today?
I may have.
Listen, this is how bad your takes are today. Your grandmother just sent me a text and told me to take off my shoe and hit you with it. Nanny gets mad at me for picking on you. She just sent me a text message to say, Mijo, walk in there and hit him with my chancla because your take is so awful. Who else do you? What else are you going to say? What else are you going to call overrated? Go ahead, just ruin everything.
What else do you want me to go after here?
I don't know. Do you want to? Who else do you want to just belittle today?
It's not okay. It's not
iconic
belittling.
sports.
It's not belittling.
You know that Babe Ruth guy. He didn't hit the ball that far. There were little ballparks back then. You know, Ted Williams hitting 400. You know what? It's not that impressive because he was out 6 out of 10 times. 400, please. Shall I keep going? You know, Michael Jordan. You know what? He didn't win every single year. He's overrated.
Also, that flu game's not a flu game. That was food poisoning. He had bad pizza.
So overrated. Such an overrated basketball player. Who else do you want to throw out there? Who else do you want to throw under the bus?
I mean, Tom Brady didn't really win those first 3 Super Bowls. That was all the Patriots' defense.
Yeah, that's
give
Tom
more
Brady.
credit give it more to Teddy Bruschi helping win those championships than Tom Brady.
Okay, you know what? Turn your microphone off. I think we're done with you for the day. We might even turn off the Dragon Ball cam today. Those are such awful takes. Really? So you really think that?
I happen to stand by those opinions, yes.
I think you're the only one in America that has an opinion that bad.
Probably. It's probably not a shared opinion.
Wow. You know, that getting to the moon, big deal. It's not that. How far away is it? It's just the moon. The moon landing, whatever.
I can see the moon in the sky. I can't see the East Coast from here, so I imagine the moon is closer.
That's not impressive. Wow. Now, no, I'm not even going to go anymore with you. Hey, today's program, as badly as it's getting started, is brought to you by Trajan Wealth. 321-4100, 321-4100, or go to TrajanWealth.com, TRAJAN Wealth.com. All right. I don't even know how to recover from your bad takes today. I'm going to do my best because the folks at Trajan Wealth can help you. Okay, so I got an idea. Here's what I'm going to say. So let's say you're working with a guy like Dragon Ball who just has messed everything up. He hasn't reached any of your goals. He has all these crazy ideas, and you're looking around at your 401k and your investments and your retirement like, oh, I can't believe I trusted somebody like Dragon Ball with all those awful ideas. Don't worry. You could sit down with my friends at Trajan Wealth. You can call them right now, 321-4100, 321-4100. Sit down with them face to face, and say, hey, listen, here's my goals. Here's what I want to do. Here's my ideas. I want to leave money for my grandkids for college. I want to be able to invest enough that I have money to travel after I retire. I want to make sure I have a nest egg. I want to make sure that I'm going to do this, that, or anything else. They sit down. You guys talk through your goals, and then they help you reach those goals. They're fiduciaries. They work for you. They're paid and incentivized to simply grow your portfolio to help you fulfill your goals. So if you've been working with somebody who's done a really horrible job of not paying attention and having the craziest ideas like Dragon Ball, Call my friends at Trade Show Wealth today. There are people out there that can really help you, that will go to work with you as a partner. 321-4100, 321-4100, 321-4100. Trade Show Wealth is our website, trajanwealth.com. They're located right here in Tucson. You don't go anywhere to talk to somebody at an 800 number that you'll never see again. They're right here. Get a face-to-face convenient meeting for you. And again, they're right here. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau. All right. Their website again, trajanwealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trade Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. All right. Coming up on the program, a big part of the NBA playoffs isn't going to be there tonight. Big void tonight in the Warriors game. Who is it? We'll tell you next here on 1290. I think the show's completely ruined today, beyond repair, with Dragon Ball's awful takes that Willis Reed. So there's some of you that aren't old enough to understand the whole Willis Reed thing. NBA Finals, coming back hobbling, trying to bring the Knicks a championship. He said that was overrated. He said young blood playing with a hairline fracture
in his leg
in an NFL game. That's overrated. What else did you say was overrated?
I think those were the two.
No, you had one more.
Oh, no, I said that the flu game wasn't a flu game. It was food poisoning.
Yeah, Michael Jordan playing while he's trying not to lose it out of both ends. You said that's overrated. I don't know. Brett Favre. How about Brett Favre on that Monday night game after his dad passed away? Overrated?
No, that's not overrated.
Okay, so there's one.
But I will say, again, the reason why I say with Willis Reed's game is that, again, the man only scored 4 points.
Came out there and played.
He only scored 4 points. He scored 4 more points than I did, and I wasn't born yet.
You're so bad. You're so bad. Chuck Cecil's 100-yard touchdown return. Was that okay?
Chuck wasn't hurt.
I'm just saying. I mean, all the big plays that people mark in time.
Great moments in sports. Those are great moments for a reason. When someone's saying, like, oh, this person overcame this kind of adversity, it's like the adversity may have been a little outstretched.
How about little Kerry Scruggs doing the flips and winning the Olympic gold on one leg?
I can't even do a front flip with two
so
healthy
was that
ankles.
Overrated?
No, it's not overrated.
I'm just checking. I mean, you basically just called people out.
I'm just saying that scoring 4 points to open a game and then not doing anything after that, to me, that's... I just, grumpy Gus over here. Tonight, the Warriors will play the late game, and I'll have full reaction to that game afterwards on CBS Sports Radio. But it is confirmed Steve Kerr did not travel with the team to Memphis. So Mike Brown will be coaching the Warriors one more time. How crazy is this? Mike Brown is the coach in waiting for the Sacramento Kings. Not even the coach in waiting. He is the next coach of the Sacramento Kings and should be preparing for, the NBA draft, how to change that organization's culture, getting ready, talking to his players. But nope, he's not wearing purple right now. He's wearing blue and gold of the Golden State Warriors because he's still coaching the Warriors, even though he's going to be the Kings coach next year. So if you're a Sacramento King fan, how do you feel about your next coach? Yay! Congratulations. We introduced him today. All right, so Mike, now that you've been named head coach of the Sacramento Kings, what are you doing next? Well, I'm going to go work with Steph Curry and figure out how to bring another banner back to San Francisco. Awkward to say the least, that he's the coach of the worst team in the Pacific Division. He's coaching the best team in the Pacific Division. Sorry, Suns fans, they are. And now he's trying to win a championship for another franchise that he will be battling next year. I mean, Steph Curry was pretty funny. He's like, yeah, I felt like I got traded to the Kings. Because I'm over there looking at the Kings coach telling me what to do is they have that 45 seconds of lead time to win the game to put themselves up 3-1 now as they head back to Memphis and have a chance to close it out tonight. By the way, I don't think we'll see Ja Morant as well. So then the Memphis fans will have something to whine and cry and complain about that they got robbed because Ja Morant got his knee pulled by Jordan Poole, and that really is the reason why Memphis isn't going to win the championship this year. So they already have their built-in excuse before it even gets started. Oh, if the Warriors win tonight, I am going to be so obnoxious to Memphis Grizzly fans. You're going to be obnoxious with me tomorrow.
No, you're still alive. Hey, listen, if I'm a Suns fan, I'm excited the way they went in there and thumped the Mavericks.
No, but the first thing you're going to say is, like, you better hope that the Suns close it out because you're going to owe me a lunch if you don't.
No, I'm very, very, very confident that the Suns will play the Warriors in the next round. No?
I'm confident, but I'm just saying I know you, and I know that it's coming.
What's that? Me picking on you?
Yeah.
Well, it's because you say stupid things on a daily basis. Today's program brought to you in part Actually, our studios are brought to you by Casino del Sol. Sol Sports, bet easy, win big, bet local, Casino del Sol. Real quick reminder, coming up on Friday, you're going to get an opportunity to win a $25 gift card courtesy of Topo Chico Hard Seltzer. Topo Chico, an authentic 125-year history of sparkling mineral water. Well, after 125 years, they made it better by making it into a hard seltzer. Topo Chico Hard Seltzer brings a unique twist to classic flavors. The variety pack includes tangy lemon lime, strawberry guava, pineapple twist, and tropical mango. Just 100 calories per 12-ounce can. Now available throughout Tucson. And on Friday, you'll get an opportunity to win a $25 gift card courtesy of Topo Chico Hard Seltzer. All right, coming up, it's Wildcat Wednesday. We'll sit down and talk with Trevor Crow. We go on the Wayback Machine to talk to him. That's next. I'm Rich Herrera. That's the guy with the absolute worst, horrible takes I've ever heard on sports radio. His name is Dragon Ball. In fact, his family doesn't even want us to call him by his real name anymore. It's so bad. He'll have an update for you coming up here in a matter of moments on 1290.
This is David Amata, and here's what's trending on 1290 here at 3:30. The journey through the NCAA tournament for Arizona women's golf has sadly come to an end in Albuquerque as the team could not break the top four out in the regional on the final day. Arizona women's basketball brings in a little extra shooting through the transfer portal as familiar face Jade Lovell will officially transfer from Arizona State to join the Wildcats. And Major League Baseball has their first postponed game due to COVID after the Guardians and the White Sox had their game pushed back after multiple positive tests within Cleveland's team, including former Arizona Wildcat manager Terry Francona. Alabama head coach Nick Saban has denied that he or the Alabama program violated NCAA rules after they were accused by Louisville of violations when bringing in wideout Tyler Harrell via the transfer portal. That's what's trending locally and nationally on 1290. Still more to come on the Rich Herrera Show. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
We're going to run out to our guest hotline right now. Trevor Crow, Major League Baseball veteran, University of Arizona letterman in baseball, played for Andy Lopez, is our guest today on Wildcat Wednesday. Trevor, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on the program with us. So we started doing this right after the Arizona State game a couple years ago, the 70-7 game. And John Fina, who's NFL alumni, played here and went on to play professional just like you, was talking about all the traditions of the University of Arizona. And there's times, especially after COVID, that we kind of lost touch with all that. So on Wednesday, we like to bring on alumni like yourself. Brian Anderson's been on. We've had a lot of people come on, and they talk about what it meant to be an Arizona Wildcat. So I appreciate you coming on the program with us so we could talk a little bit about your stay at the University of Arizona and what it meant to you.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great experience for me to be in Tucson. The thing that really drew me to it at first was Andy Lopez, trying to build the program back up again to what it was in the 80s. And he just really convinced me that if my goal is to play Major League Baseball, that if I went to Tucson and gave him 3 good years, that he could help me achieve that goal.
Well, let's go back to that. So you grew up in Oregon, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so growing up in Oregon, it's green, it's lush, there's humidity in the air. Tell me about Trevor Crow growing up, and what was the first time you ever heard of Tucson and the University of Arizona?
Yeah, to be honest with you, when they were making the recruiting calls, I had a little bit idea about Tucson, obviously Arizona, but all I really thought about was like how awesome the weather would be, and get to practice outdoors year-round, because obviously in Arizona the weather limits, or in Oregon the weather limits that. But yeah, I mean, coming to the desert was it was a lot different than growing up in Portland. There's not much greenery going on. Obviously you're in a new setting, new place. Tucson's a special town. So it was great to get there, and after a while, it just felt like home.
How many other schools were calling on you? What were your other options?
Gosh, ASU was one of them, Nebraska, Berkeley. There were like 10 or 12 schools that I was looking at going to, but like I said, just, when I had my visit in Tucson, Coach Lopez just really sold me.
I just saw Andy not long ago, and we were talking about when he first got to town, and we had a bunch of mutual friends from other stops he had in Gainesville and all the rest. So we sat and were reminiscing about that first recruiting class, and you were part of that first recruiting class. What was Andy's big pitch to get you to come play at the U of A? What did he say that convinced you this was the right place for you?
Yeah, it was twofold. I think, number one, some of the schools that I was being recruited by at the time were having more success than the University of Arizona. So his first point was, do you want to be part of a program that's, doing well right now, or do you want to be remembered as, someone that came into a program that had a great history and were one of the people that turned it around? So that was obviously a big selling point for me, is like, yeah, I'd like to be part of something that, we got the school going again, and we got rocking and rolling. And then the second thing is, growing up, all I ever wanted to do was play baseball for a living. I wanted to play in the major leagues. I tell you what, he convinced me that if I came to Tucson, that was going to happen. So, there was just a different level of conviction in the way he spoke, and I bought in, I believed him, and I ended up coming.
Well, how about that? I mean, he told you, he didn't sell you a bill of goods. He told you the truth. You came here, you helped revive the Arizona baseball program, and you made your way to the big leagues.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of that is a direct result of, him and his coaching and his methods and just growing up and becoming a man down there. I tell you what, there were a number of times throughout my career when I would sit back and think about, what a great coaching staff we had and think about the lessons I learned there. And to be honest, even throughout my playing career professionally and in the major leagues, he was just head and shoulders, the best coach I ever had. He was like, a mental warrior. And he could just get inside your head and find out what made you tick and just keep you super motivated and make you feel like you were the best player on the planet.
Trevor Crow joining us right now for Wildcat Wednesday, our guest here on Wildcats Radio 1290. It's all brought to you by Tucson PGA Tour Superstore. Trevor, what was your first thought when you set foot on the campus and you looked around, you went into the old stadium, you walked through McHale? Anything that jumps? Was there anything that jumped out at you?
Just obviously a gorgeous campus, right? And the school is so big. Not that I was sheltered, but I hadn't had much experience outside of Oregon or in Arizona, so it was a big change for me. But, the facility, obviously amazing. The weight room inside McHale. You could see that obviously athletics were a big part of the university. I was just ready to get there and get to work, and like I said, just really hyper-focused on being the best baseball player I could be. And I don't know, it felt kind of like home.
Was it weird when you packed up and your folks are going, all right, so where's your heavy jacket and boots and gloves? Like, it's Tucson. I don't even think I need to bring shoes. I can wear flip-flops every day.
Yeah, definitely. They said it was going to be hot, but it was a dry heat, and let me tell you what, it was definitely an adjustment getting used to those some of those later months in the year. But the weather in Arizona is obviously great year-round.
We talk a lot about the traditions and the players that have gone before, the kids that are playing right now. Obviously, you're part of this great lineage of Arizona baseball, and you can go back to Chip Hale, who's now running the program, J.T. Snow, Trevor Hoffman, Gil Heredia. I could just keep going. Ed Vosberg. I mean, so many guys that played here, went on to play in the big leagues. Talk to me about the lineage of this brotherhood that's come through here playing in this baseball program.
Yeah, obviously, very impressive. All the guys you just named, the Brian Andersons, the Shelley Duncans, the Terry Franconas. It's cool to be a part of that. And, obviously, it's one of those things, like when you ran into guys playing professional baseball that were part of, Arizona baseball, it felt like a brotherhood. It definitely did. And, I mean, obviously, Chip has kept the ball rolling. I know they got some studs there this year. But I think it's something special that I was very fortunate to be a part of.
What are your fondest memories of playing here at the U of A?
And, obviously, going to the College World Series was amazing. My junior year, even though we didn't make it to the College World Series, that team was just super, super stacked. I think we had like 6 or 7 big leaguers off that team. That was a lot of fun. But honestly, the things that we talk about the most were like the post-game, meetings that Coach Lopez would have, whether we won or lost, or at practice, and how he would get us all rounded up and fired up. We would joke a lot now about his speeches and the way he would communicate. He commanded a presence. And, as I get older, I see there was a lot of method to his madness,
Okay, so here's one of the things. There's a couple of things we ask all the alumni when they come on. the program. You've alluded to how important Andy was in your development. I'm assuming both on and off the field. So how did coming to the University of Arizona, being a member of this baseball program, make you a better person?
I tell you what, Coach Lopez always used to talk about, what you do on the field and what you do in life, they're a reflection of each other. It's not just making good decisions on the baseball field. It's making good decisions off them, and the more of those good decisions you accumulate, the quote-unquote luckier, more success you're going to have. That was just a really, really big thing. He always preached, obviously, education as well. It wasn't until my junior year, till the first time I really heard him say, hey, really focus on baseball. You're really going to make it. Obviously, he believed in me. But you could tell that his goal was to get the most out of you on the field and to really develop you, off the field as a man.
How much is that winning tradition? I mean, obviously Arizona's won College World Series before, like you said, put guys into the big leagues. Then you have Andy Lopez, who he's got College World Series experience. I mean, when you have coaches like that and you come from a program like that, I mean, you're probably getting the best of the best.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like I said earlier, I had some good managers in the big leagues. Eric Wedge, Maniac, Bo Porter, and some good coaches along the road in the minor leagues. But I truly believe that if Coach Lopez ever got a shot at the major league level, and obviously I'm a little bit biased, but I really think he would have been the best or one of the best coaches at any level he got the opportunity to be a part of.
We ask people this when they come on the program, term bear down, rallying cry, if you will, for the University of Arizona. But the more and more alumni we talk to, it means a lot more than just something that you have on a T-shirt. What's bear down mean to you?
To me it means that, in life, in sports, in athletics, in moments, they're going to be difficult. And, you're going to be put on your rear end, and you're going to have to face some adversity. And how are you going to come through that? How are you going to summon up the inner strength to get going and succeed? And, I think that's a huge part of life is being able to reach down and, bear down and take it to the next level.
And again, for you, I mean, your chosen profession of Major League Baseball, you fail 7 out of 10 times, so you better know how to bear down and have some resiliency if you're going to survive.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, baseball is one of those games. It's just based in failure. And the guys who succeed the most are the guys who can handle failure the best. Me and Brian talk about that a lot. Anderson, it's like when you're in college, and both of us were, I would say, pretty successful college players, and obviously had the opportunity to play at the major league level. But I think that's the separator I saw with guys. Some guys were able to more easily go from one at bat to one pitch at a time, and other guys that stuck with them a little longer. So definitely having that perseverance, that mental toughness, is a huge part of having success in the game.
Trevor Crow joining us right now on Wildcats Radio 1290. You mentioned the brotherhood of Wildcat baseball. Once you got past your collegiate career and you go into professional baseball, the minor leagues, and then eventually up to the big leagues. When Brian came on with this BA, he told a story. I actually got him in trouble. I was a broadcaster for the Tampa Bay Rays, and I told him when he was getting drafted, I said, "Hey, Brian, I'm going to see you in the big leagues one day." And then the first time he came through Tropicana Field, I walked out in the field, and he was in the middle of the stretching line, got up, ran over, and hugged me, and all the veterans are looking. I'm like, "Why are you over there hugging the Rays broadcaster?" He said, "That's the guy who told me I was going to get to the big leagues." What was it like for you when you saw somebody from Tucson or from the program once you made it in professional baseball?
Yeah, it's a really cool, special feeling. I was super fortunate because I not only got to play against guys who went to the University of Arizona, but I also played with. So one year in 2010, we had myself, Shelly Duncan, Jordan Brown and Jason Donald on the same team. It's cool to have those moments inside the locker room and on the field sometimes when you get to step back and realize that. Sorry about that.
No,
realize that you guys all played at the same college and same school, and it's definitely a cool part of it.
Did you wear everybody out?
I tried to. I think we definitely gave each other crap. There was a lot of ribbon going on in the locker room for sure.
Oh, that is awesome. One of the other things we always ask everybody, and this can be interesting for you because you benefited from coming to the University of Arizona. You gave so much to the school. The school obviously gave something to you. But now that you're an alum and an adult and you're on in your life and you look back at the school, I always like to ask the alumni, when anybody ever points to the school and says, maybe I don't like this, maybe I don't like that, maybe I want something different. If you point a finger, there's always three more pointing back at you. How do you think folks in Tucson could best support what Chip Hale, what Jed Fish, what Tommy Lloyd, what Adia Barnes, what Caitlin Lowe, what the coaches are trying to accomplish at the University of Arizona? How would you suggest the city of Tucson support these athletes that are following in your footsteps?
I would say the biggest thing, especially in baseball, is just coming out to the games and supporting them. There's something to be said for, having a good crowd and being at your home place. And, that was really cool when I was in school. Obviously, the SEC teams always draw really, really well. And, when we had a good crowd at home, it felt like a special environment. So, I would say, obviously everyone has their own lives. They got stuff going on. Everyone's busy. But when you can go out and support, the baseball, basketball, softball, football team, go out and do it because it really does make a difference, to the energy and the feel of the game.
And you think about it, you look at the facilities they have at High Corbett right now. I mean, that was the long-time spring training complex for so many different teams, and the Terry Francona Hitting Center out there and the backfields. I mean, that's about as good as you could get as far as a college baseball facility.
Yeah, I tell you what, the facilities and everything they're doing in Arizona baseball right now is on a whole new level. I started following their Instagram account, and you can just tell, like, the marketing piece, what they're doing to promote the program. They have some player funny videos on there. It's really cool to watch the baseball program evolve and, roll into 2022. It's been interesting.
And the gear. I mean, think of you had a great Nike contract. Look at all the gear these guys have, the facilities, the hitting. I mean, wouldn't you love to be a 18-year-old coming out of Portland going to play for Chip Hale right now?
Oh, no doubt about it. It's funny you say that because you look at like all the workout gear, the glove day, the Oakleys, the warm-ups. Yeah, they definitely have it made for sure. It's funny because I had a Nike contract for 10 years while I was playing, and you just get so used to it. Like, from the age of 21 to 30, I never paid for shoes, and then all of a sudden you're, like, buying shoes again. You realize how fortunate you were to get some free stuff all that time.
The merch money was nice, and Wendell Neal does a good job, right?
So awesome. You're the big shot. You get to tell all your friends and family, go sign on and get yourself some shoes. Yeah, it's definitely a good perk of the game.
Hey, finally, for a kid who showed up from Portland, Oregon, to being in Andy Lopez's first recruiting class, making it all the way to the big leagues, I wanted to ask you a couple things. Just share with us the day you got called up and you got your first knock.
So I made the team out of spring training, and I got sent down. Next day I go in, I'm playing in AAA, and they pull me out of the game, and I'm not really sure what's going on. And they're like, hey, go in and see Wedgie tomorrow. So I drive in early in the morning, and there's a night game with the team, so I'm waiting there for like an hour. And then all of a sudden, Mark Shapiro, our general manager, comes in. He said, we're going to put David DeLucia on the DL, and you are going to be a member of this team opening day. And I tell you what, it was like the world's greatest feeling. Because when I say, I wanted to be a big leaguer, I mean, like, when I was in Tucson, there's a great nightlife, right? I didn't drink. I didn't go out. Like, I remember getting to my dorm room freshman year, circling the date of the draft. Like, and then once I got drafted, I put all of my energy and effort, during the season and the off season to get to the big league. So, that part was really, really special. And then to have my first hit come at home, a bases loaded double it was cool. I knew I had more work to do, but it felt like, I had arrived as a major leaguer. It was something I'll never forget.
Wow. I just get chills on those days where you see someone coming up for the first time, you get that knock, they look up in the stands, maybe their loved ones are there. It is a moment that's very fleeting, but so special. Yeah,
and not just like, obviously for me, the player, but like you said, the family there too, my parents, two hardworking people, my sister very supportive and loving, and they sacrificed a lot too, driving me around to the batting cages, travel ball, doing all that stuff too. And, as I get older, I think that's one of the things I really, really appreciate about the game is, obviously I had got a lot of value from that and felt good about it, but to be able to reward like my family and to share those experiences with them, that's one of the really special things about it.
What'd you do with the ball?
The ball's at my parents' house, and I think surprisingly, I don't know. When I moved out to Phoenix full time, I got a big house and did all that stuff, and I just always kept it there. I don't know. It always felt like home there.
Now, did they give it to you right away, or did they mess with you and say, "Oh, we threw it away"?
They pretended like they threw it in the stands, but they didn't. And then, like a couple days later, it shows up in your locker and has like writing on it, where you got it, what the game was, etc.
Veterans are evil. Let me leave you with one last thing. I wanted to ask you about going into the Jim Click Hall of Fame. Pretty cool. To be honored by your alma mater, but you also were honored class of 2015 going along with your coach, Andy Lopez. What was that like?
That was crazy. Obviously, I knew there was a Hall of Fame, but, in my mind, I'm just, living my life, and I get that call, which was obviously, great, and then I heard Andy Lopez was going in, and, I can't say it enough. Like, I don't have any children, but if I did have kids, other than, like, my father, I can't think of another man that I would want them to spend a ton of time with and just grow. The guy is like a mental terrorist. He just gets in your brain and pulls the best out of you. And I'm convinced that the combination of me, working hard and doing everything I could in my power, and his tutelage and challenging me, and just really, really, having me accept the task to be the best I can be, that he really propelled my baseball career and even some success I've had after baseball. So to go in with him was like a tremendous offer. Obviously I'm very proud of my career, but it makes me feel even better knowing that, me and him can share the Hall of Fame together, because obviously he is more than deserving, and that just made it super special.
I don't know. I think you and he might have to meet up soon back in Omaha, because I have a feeling that Chip's going to take this program to the heights that you experienced and a lot of other Wildcats have.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Obviously, I've been following the program from a distance here. It looks like they have a really good squad. I saw they won their first couple of games earlier this year, and I mean, Chip knows what he's doing. They got a great hire there, no doubt about it. He's obviously got experience, at collegiate level as a player, big leagues as a manager, big leagues as a player. I mean, he's a stud. I think he's going to do a really good job, and the program's in really good shape.
What about that first base coach they have this year? That Anderson kid, that Brian Anderson kid. He might be okay.
He might be okay. BA is a great guy. I'm pulling for him big time. I think he's going to make a really good coach. I'm really glad to see him back in the game. Me and him have had a number of conversations post-playing baseball, and, it's easy to take what you're doing in baseball for granted, but I tell you what, once you leave the game, you really realize how special a time that was. And me and him would talk about that all the time, just about what great experiences we have. We'd share stories going back and forth and about all the memories. And we both said the same thing. Like, obviously we miss playing the game, but more than anything, we miss the camaraderie between the guys. That's just something really special that it's just fun to wake up in the morning and you're not going to a desk. You're going to play a game, and you got 25 of your buddies with you. It's really cool. And like I said, I'm really rooting for Brian. I think he's going to have an impact on those kids. And I think he's going to do a really good job.
Trevor, I really appreciate you coming on, talking with us. I hope we could do this again sometime in the near future. Like I said, I think this is great because we get to remind everybody, because you get so caught up in life sometimes you forget about what this school really means and to the folks that played here, how important it is in the tradition that these kids are carrying on in your footsteps right now. Yeah, definitely. Tucson is in the University of Arizona, huge part of my life. It set a very, very big foundation for me. And I tell you what, all those kids coming through right now, they're going to have, not an easy experience, but at the end of the day, it'll be a great experience and it'll be worthwhile for sure. And, to be a Wildcat, to play at that level and to play at that university and for that fan base and to have access to those facilities, that coaching staff, we're all lucky to do that for sure. And I was fortunate enough to have my 3 years in Tucson as well. Trevor, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Bear down. We'll catch up with you soon. Bear down. Thanks for having me. Thank you so much. Trevor Crow joining us here on Wildcats Radio 1290. Today's program brought to you in part by
From the Riley Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic, sponsored by Riley Chevrolet. Winnie Point Vista, just up the road from there, Catalina Highway, milepost marker 15, crash clearing there. Also, collisions reported, I-10 frontage and West Prince involving an injury, Prince and I-10 frontage. Also, East Speedway Boulevard in North Kolb, injury reported there as well, Kolb and Speedway. Traffic hazards, Benson Highway and South Campbell, North Cortero Road, and Cracker Barrel also clearing. I'm JW Madden with Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic.
If you made your daughter break up with her boyfriend because he applied to ASU,
1290 is your station because we love the Wildcats as much as you do.
This is your station, Wildcats fans. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
Rob tried to manage his constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating day after day. After realizing it was irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, he found another way and finally said yes to adding Linzess.
Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2 years old. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Talk to a doctor today. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by AbbVie and Ironwood Pharmaceuticals.
Place your bets, place your bets. Basketball.
Our thanks to Trevor Crow, our guest for Wildcat Wednesday. I'm Rich Herrera. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Today's program brought to you by QC Kinetics. Stop living with that daily pain in your knees or back or shoulder. Don't let them tell you surgery and steroids are your only option. You have another option that can give you long-lasting results. It's called QC Kinetics. You got to call them today. So many people here in Tucson are pain-free now thanks to the natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics. The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are helping people with regenerative medicine using powerful healing properties from your own body, restoring and repairing damaged joint tissue. Imagine living life without that nagging chronic pain with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation. 2 locations here, Academy and Orange Grove. If joint pain is keeping you from work or play, you need to discover the power of natural biologic treatments. Call QC Kinetics now, 520-497-4955. That's 520-497-4955. QC Kinetics, Academy in Orange Grove, 520-497-4955. All right, coming up this hour, because it's Wildcat Wednesday, we're going to give you a triple blast of Wildcat Wednesday, Debbie Day. One of the originals from Mike Andrea. Of course, we're celebrating this week that it's the senior days for both baseball and softball coming up at High Corbett Field this weekend. And we're still upset the Dragon Ball has the worst take of all time. Youngblood, Willis Reed, Michael Jordan, all overrated, overcoming physical ailments to win.
I said those moments were overrated. Their careers
You're overrated.
are not.
You're overrated.
Oh, absolutely, I'm overrated.
You're
and I'm
100% overrated.
I'm rated like a 13 out of 100, and I'm still overrated.
I don't even know how you got that 13. I'll tell you that.
That's unlucky. That's why.
Okay, how about this? Would this be overrated? Did you see this story? Dolly Parton is starring in a new musical.
Okay.
Would you go see it?
I've seen this story, and I can't help but ask why.
Celebration of the Mexican pizza from Taco Bell.
Why?
Because people want the Mexican pizza back. I've never had one. I don't even know what's in the Mexican pizza. Do you?
The Mexican pizza, as far as I remember,
I think it's like a tortilla.
It was like 2 tostadas.
2 tostadas with beans.
Like one layer was like just bean and like ground beef, like taco meat.
Right.
And then the second tostada on top of it was like all just like another, I think like it's like a salsa, cheese, and more beans or something to that nature. It's basically what I would actually do with tostadas when I was eating them growing up.
What?
You would go ahead and you would take 2 tostadas and you would kind of like crunch them together and make it
So
almost
it
like
was
a
the
sandwich.
original hack.
Yeah.
It's because now, like, I go through the McDonald's drive-thru and the person at the window wearing a T-shirt. Oh, check out the McDonald's secret menu or the McDonald's hacks. Oh, I didn't know there's a secret menu at McDonald's.
There's a secret menu for almost every restaurant, right?
No, there's not. There's one secret menu.
What about the monster fries or whatever it was from In-N-Out? Isn't that like quote unquote the secret menu?
That's the one in the secret menu. You could get at In-N-Out. You could get a double, or you can get a 3x3, 3 pieces of meat, 3 pieces of cheese.
Right.
You can go protein style. You can go animal style. It's all the stuff that they offer that's not on the menu. Secret menu.
Right, but I'm saying that like a lot of restaurants these days, or like fast food restaurants specifically, have these secret kind of like not on the menu, but you can order it, secret menus kind of thing, don't they?
Like what?
Well,
they're
like
all trying to, but they're all kind of.
Well, yeah, but you were just saying like McDonald's has
I'll
one.
get a sausage McMuffin.
Okay.
And throw a piece of hash brown in the middle of it.
Okay.
Is that my secret hack? My secret menu? Ooh, put hash browns in the middle of the sausage McMuffin.
It's your secret hack. It's not a secret menu item, though, because you end up putting that together.
You're just a Debbie Downer today.
I'm not Debbie Downer. To be honest, with this story, I'm a Dolly Downer, because this, to me, seems absurd. A musical about a food item.
They make musicals about everything.
I understand, and this is why I used to be a theater kid.
This.
I used to be a theater kid, and I just don't.
So now,
I don't like this
now
stuff.
we get it. You're bougie. This is too good for me. How dare they? How dare they ruin the theater by having Dolly Parton sing about?
Theater was ruined when theater was
Mexican
invented.
Pizza.
Theater was ruined when theater was invented.
Mexican pizza. How dare she sing about it?
No, I just don't know if
the Phantom of the Mexican Pizza. You were surprised that I actually knew the words to Phantom of the Opera. Phantom of the Opera.
It's the idea of the Phantom of the Mexican Pizza.
We want the Mexican pizza to come back.
What would the Phantom of the Mexican Pizza look like? Would it just be like would it be like instead of a mask, it would just be like a tortilla with an eye hole cut into it or something?
Oh, you're going to get us both in trouble if you keep talking like that on this radio show.
I'm just asking the questions here.
I have no idea. I have no idea. If you could just have one, though, I'm wondering, I want to do this later in the week.
Right.
If we were to have a musical about something here in Tucson, food-wise, what would it be? It's kind of like if you could just have one meal in Tucson, what would it be? If you're coming through, like my friends from the Ukraine, when they rolled through, I took them to Froggenfurken.
Mm-hmm.
If you're coming to visit for the very first time, and you're only going to be here once, what would you tell people that we should be known for? Is it a Sonoran hot dog? Is it a specific taco somewhere? What would it be? Would it be Little Abner Steakhouse? Would it be Silver Saddle Steakhouse?
Silver Saddle will be a good one.
Yeah, which one would it be? Well, we're going to do that later this week on the program. All right, what am I doing here? Am I done? Are you telling me to shut up?
Yeah.
Is Debbie Day coming up next?
We'll probably have her come up here next. Yeah.
Well, all right, we'll talk with Debbie Day for Wildcat Wednesday. We're going to give you a triple shot of Wildcat Wednesday today. 3 different stories of Wildcats and why The University of Arizona is such a unique place. All that coming up here on 1290. All right, Rich Rare Radio Show rolls on. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Hockey's underway, right, Dragon Ball?
Yes, hockey is underway.
Nobody cares. Milwaukee and Boston are playing right now, game 5 of their best of 7. Milwaukee's on the road to Boston. They're leading 11-10. All right, give me your silly hockey score.
Well, right,
because I know you're not paying attention to anything else because you're watching the Penguinitos.
Penguinitos, okay. No, so right now the Penguins are up with a 2-man advantage right now. It's still tied 0-0. And the the Florida Panthers, rather, and the Washington Capitals will go ahead and take on with their Game 5 at the bottom of the hour here, coming up here.
What are the Lightning doing?
The Lightning, they went ahead and they were able to go ahead and lose in overtime yesterday.
Okay.
That one is now, I believe, yes, it is in favor of Toronto 3-2. With the next game, it'll be going out to Tampa Bay for Game 6.
Can't you say who are they playing?
The Lightning and the Maple Leafs.
The Leafs are up 3-2.
Yeah.
Next game comes up in Tampa.
Well, just giving you the basic breakdown of the whole thing, you know. Doing my best. Again, you're going to hear all of this here at the coming of the sports update.
Oh, good. Okay, I can't wait for that. Brian Jeffries joins us, by the way, at the top of the 5 o'clock hour. And, again, we're giving you a triple shot of Wildcat Wednesday. Bennett Davidson's going to join us for Wildcat Wednesday in the 5 o'clock hour as well. Quick reminder, Friday, we're on the road at Arizona Baseball. The Arizona Wildcats will take on the number 1 team in this nation. Oregon State will be out there broadcasting live on Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon?
Yeah.
Friday afternoon. And, by the way, double shot of Rich today because I'll be back tonight here on 1290 at 11 p.m. hosting for Amy Lawrence on CBS Sports Radio. So you get twice as much, Rich, for the next 3 days.
There you go.
All right, coming up, right? Did I time this out correctly?
Yep, you got it.
All right. All these moving parts over here. Debbie Day is our guest for Wildcat Wednesday. Right after Dragon Ball gives you all the score updates. This is 1290.
This is David Amata, and here's what's trending on 1290 here at 420. With the release of the Pac-12 All-Conference teams, the conference has named Charlize Palacio, Ali Skaggs, Jasmine Perez-Chica, and Paige Dimmler of the Arizona Wildcats to the first, second, third, and freshman teams, all of those respectively. With the NBA Combine quickly approaching, the Wildcats will be represented by Benedict Mathurin, Christian Coloco, and Dalen Terry at the workouts ahead of the NBA draft. And already at age 30, and the Milwaukee Brewers outfielder Christian Yelich has officially tied the MLB mark of 3 cycles in a career, with him being the first player to ever do so with one team his entire career. And with the NBA playoffs now getting underway, Milwaukee has a 1-point lead over Boston in their Game 5 out in Boston, Massachusetts. They're nearing the end of the first quarter there. And in the NHL, the Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Rangers are still tied 0, nearing the midway point of the first period, with Washington and Florida getting set to have their Game 5 start here near the bottom of the hour. And that's what's trending locally and nationally on 1290. Still more to come on The Rich Herrera Show. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Oh, it's Wildcat Wednesday here on your home of Arizona Athletics. I'm Rich Herrera. Thanks so much for joining us. I do want to bring on our special guest for Wildcat Wednesday. So on Wildcat Wednesday, we sit down and we talk with legends that have worn the Block A. They've worn the red and blue. They set the path. They were the trailblazers for the student athletes that we have attending the University of Arizona and thrilling us right now. And this, again, all started, John Fina came on the program with us after the Arizona State football game a couple of years ago, and he just reminded us of what it means to bear down. And this has been one of my favorite things to do on the show. Since then, we bring in Arizona alum. We talk about their time here in Tucson and what brought them to Tucson and what it means to bear down. So joining us today, we have a very special guest from the softball team. She was a national champion under Mike Andre here at the University of Arizona in 1991. Debbie Day joining us here on Wildcats Radio 1290. Debbie, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I am great, bear down. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, I'm honored.
This is kind of fun, Debbie. We had Stacy Iverson on. We've had so many great players coming on the men's side, the women's side, football players, basketball players. It just kind of reminds us, especially in a day and age where people forget about things and we get a little less connected. There is an extended family of Arizona Wildcats. So once you wear that Wildcat jersey, you're a Wildcat for life.
Absolutely. I mean, Coach did an amazing job of always including and making sure we knew who came before us, even, back 30 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing when you look at the lineage of Arizona softball. So let's talk a little bit about you and how you fit into what Wildcat softball has become now at the University of Arizona. So tell us about yourself growing up. When did you start playing softball? And tell us about your journey of getting recruited and what eventually brought you to the University of Arizona.
Sure. So I grew up in San Fernando Valley, North Hollywood, California, and it was a different time back then. I had to wait to play Little League softball. I played some boys sports growing up because there just wasn't a whole lot available to us when we were young, but fell in love with softball at about 9 years old, moved to club ball at 13 and played through then and played, obviously in school, and was recruited out of high school, but just not, I wasn't of the caliber of an Arizona or UCLA type pitcher, so I initially went to University of Texas Arlington, which is a D1, just on a little separate scale, especially back then. But I was really fortunate to have a great coach there, and I got a ton of playing time. My freshman year, I was 31 and 21, and our team was 36 and 26.
Wow, so you were basically the arm, right?
Yeah, I threw everything, and it put me on a national scale. I led the country in strikeouts that year, and not because I was a strikeout pitcher, but just because I threw every game. And then my sophomore year, we played. We had a great season. We were top 20 ranked for a while, but back then you didn't have the AQs coming out of conferences, so we won our conference, and then we all went home. And all of the World Series wasn't on ESPN back then, but I played summer ball with some Arizona and UCLA players, and they were talking about going to the World Series, and I just didn't even know what they were talking about. And arguably one of the best shortstops to ever play at Arizona, Julie Standering, told me, if you played for us, we would have won the World Series this year. So that stuck with me. I went back to Texas. My coach had left, and I just decided I wanted to challenge myself a little bit more, and so I switched in January of 1990.
So,
sorry.
No, I love this story. I love this story. Okay, so let's take a little pause right here, Debbie, because again, of all that you've accomplished, if you didn't have that chance meeting playing over the summer, or you just hadn't been on the same team with an Arizona Wildcat, your life might have been different. But I want to go back to something for just a sec, because we have parents that are listening. Parents get crazy. They get invested in their kids, and they want for their kids to do so well, and they get so caught up of little girls playing softball when they're 7 and 8 years old, and if they're not Jenny Finch and they're not Debbie Day by the time they're in the 4th grade, they give up on it, or travel ball coaches will give up on them. Were you a late bloomer? Did you not get enough reps? And what happens if we fast forward 30 years and you're in this highly competitive type of softball now where little girls get left off and standing by the side of the road by 9 years old? Some adults already decided whether they could play or not.
Yeah, well, I was absolutely a late bloomer. I didn't even start pitching till I was 13. I was a shortstop forever, and I've always thought that really served me well. One, I had more body awareness starting to learn pitching at 13 than many girls learning at 6 and 7 years old. And I had the most amazing pitching coach, Mondo Madrid, out here, who really worked with me well. And I'm a current softball coach at Cal Lutheran University.
Right.
And I see it all the time. I think it's the culture today just does not allow for late bloomers. It doesn't allow late decisions with signing so early in high school, and that's a shame. Luckily, people, I guess transferring is more accepted now, and that helps. And but it is really a shame that at 9th and 10th grade you are deciding your future, and those who aren't really feel like softball hasn't been as good to them as everybody else.
Okay, so let's pick it up here. Is you decide, well, I think I'm going to leave. I'm going to try something different. Talk about the conversations that brought you to Tucson. Were there other options where you might have found a place to play?
Yeah, so I really was thinking at that time maybe Oregon or Arizona, because I knew a couple girls on the team, but I didn't know Coach at all. And so Julie Standering is the reason I ended up at Arizona. She walked him and told him, hey, we need her. He took me sight unseen. Funny story, I was driving home from Texas in December, right before the January start at Arizona, and I stopped by his office, and he walked in, and he didn't even know who I was. So it was great. But really, it was just such a level of trust. I mean, it really was my first chance at seeing how much Coach trusted his players and values their opinions, and that Julie would put herself out there to tell him, hey, we need her. I did have to sit out all of 1990, so there was that, but it turned out to be the best decision of my life. But in the same breath, I'm glad I had the Texas experience. I wouldn't change it, and I get asked that all the time, like, don't you wish you had gone to Arizona all 4 years? And I wasn't ready for Arizona as a freshman, pitching-wise, for sure. And I made a lot of the greatest friends and had great softball experiences at Texas. So I'm really happy with the path that I took.
So what's that first conversation with Mike like?
It was so different from any coaching that experience that I'd had before. He just was so down to earth, but businesslike at the same time, and it was unique because we both knew I was sitting out. So it was, I'm glad you're here. Can you throw BP 3 times a week or whatever? And I always say I was kind of like the pitching machine for the first semester, because they were all playing, and I would just come, throw some, and then I'd go home. But so sitting out is tough. But he was so open to me being there. He even still, the compliments that I get from Coach Candrea are just, I cannot even tell you how powerful they are to me.
Well, so you really do appreciate. You never give away your time at UT Arlington because that helped make you who you are today. But boy, that makes this journey even more memorable and special. So when you roll in to Tucson, I mean, this is the softball Mecca, right? Everybody wants to play for Mike Candrea. Everybody wants to be a Wildcat. So what's it like for you coming from little old UT Arlington, and all of a sudden you're walking in to Hillenbrand Stadium, and it's like signing with the Yankees.
It absolutely was, and Coach is hilarious. On my first day of practice, I showed up, and I knew I was redshirting, but I was very nervous. And he lined up his whole team on the side, on the foul line, and had me pitch in front of them like a child.
Okay, no pressure, right? No pressure, Coach.
And it's so funny, like the things that I remember so clearly. But
I got to ask him about that, Debbie.
Yeah, he may not even remember.
I'm getting a hold of Coach. I'm asking. He just came on the pregame show with us for basketball the other day. I've stopped by his office. I'm going to ask, Coach, seriously? She's transferring in, and you have her line up against and pitch against in front of the whole team that had gone to the College World Series the year before? Talk about baptism by fire.
For sure, but you know what? I think he knew, see me under pressure right away.
Yeah.
And I'm a person that thrives under pressure. I really enjoy that, being able to come through in those moments. So I can look back and really appreciate what he did. Maybe not in that moment, but I really appreciate that he trusted me right off the bat. He knew exactly what he was going to get from that moment on, I think.
Okay, fondest memories of playing for the Arizona Wildcats.
Oh, my gosh. As much as I hated it every single day, what I miss is, the campus run. I don't even know if they do that anymore, but we used to have to run all the way down Old Main and back as part of our warm-up. You're jumping over people laying on the grass and watching people play hacky sack and talking about your day with whoever your running partner is, and just the trust that Coach put in us as athletes just really set the stage. I use that in my own program. Our kids run the campus run every day. And it was just eye-opening to me to have a coach that just fully trusted us to be at our best, to do our best, whether he's looking or not. But one of the things I tell my players all the time is you're going to miss the competition. You're going to miss, competing at a high level, but you're also going to miss shagging fly balls in the outfield during batting practice. You're going to miss those things. Bus rides, traveling, just kind of the camaraderie and that feeling of being on a really dedicated team where, everybody has your back. And, sometimes in the real world we don't get that. So those are probably what I miss the most.
You didn't know what the College World Series was before you got to Tucson, but you certainly figured it out what it was like when you're here. Talk about that.
It's really funny because my junior year when we went, I still really didn't understand what was happening. And I think that was in my best interest, to be honest, because it was all a blur. And I was coming from a program at Texas, which was Division I, and again, I really enjoyed my time there. But we got one T-shirt and one pair of shorts. And you turned them in every day, and you may or may not have gotten your own T-shirt and shorts back for practice. And I walked in Arizona and got a pair of cleats, and I thought I hit the lottery, But we go to the World Series, and they have a dinner, and then the All-American announcements, and then playing on those fields. And it was all just really all new to me. So I think that helped me not really get too focused on the stresses of it and just be able to enjoy playing on such a big stage.
How much do you take pride in what Arizona softball's become, and now that Coach is retired and he's handed over the reins to Caitlin, and all the All-Americans and all the champions and all the gold medal winners and all the international accolades that tie directly to this program. How much pride do you take in what the University of Arizona softball program has meant to the world of softball?
You know, you cannot be more proud of being part of a program than those of us that were lucky enough to play for University of Arizona. And I am thrilled at how Coach has always nurtured his players to becoming coaches, whether we're at high school, we're doing lessons, we're, you know, at D3, D1, and his propensity towards bringing graduates back into his program as coaches, Caitlin and, you know, just all the great softball players that were able to kind of get ready as coaches through his program and thrive, and have always felt part of that family. And we always feel connected, even though, you know, I haven't been to the field in a few years, but I still know how valuable Coach feels we are. Every single one of us feels valuable.
It's like being part of a dynasty. It really is like being a Yankee, isn't it?
Well, I'm a Dodger fan, so I'll say.
I'm not going to hold that against you. I'm a Giants fan, but I won't hold that. And Mike's a Yankee fan, which I don't even know how that ever happened. I need to get him an autograph from Aaron Boone, and I keep forgetting to ask, but I'm going to get him one now that he's retired. But again, it's like being part of this famous rock and roll band.
It is, but I will tell you, it's my experience in Arizona, and even after I graduated, I worked camps for a long time, so I was able to come back and meet a lot of the current players. And I think people on the outside don't even know the humility and eagerness to succeed that all those new players have. I've always been impressed coming back at how genuine the new players are, to respect the history, to learn from the people who went before. And, you know, that all goes back to Coach and him instilling how important history is in our program.
Debbie Day joining us right now on Wildcat Wednesday as we look at the legacy and the folks that made the University of Arizona the premier program of the Pac-12. Debbie Day's been kind enough to join us here. So, Debbie, there's a couple things we ask everybody. Number one, we ask all the alumni that come on, what does bear down mean to you?
Bear down, you know, while it's that rallying call, it also means to me just the concept of, you know, get ready, be your very best at whatever you're taking on right now, whether it's bear down in the classroom, bear down on the field, or, you know, as cliche as it sounds, bear down in life, and just the focus and desire to be your absolute very best and be a champion at everything you do.
How did coming to Tucson and being a Wildcat make you a better person?
I think it made me more dedicated. It made me more humble. It made me a better teammate, which has in turn made me a better, you know, family member. It's made me better as a coach for 1,000%. And just as a human, you know, just the respect that's given, the trust and honesty, you know, like Coach is always very honest, and I appreciate that. It wasn't ever kind of schmoozy or telling you what you wanted to hear. And so me learning that has definitely impacted me as a coach. I mean, I'm in my 20th season as a head coach, and I like to think I model virtually every aspect, as I know we all do, that Coach, after, you know, Coach Candrea.
Wouldn't life be better if everyone talked to each other like a head coach? You know, Mike has so many of those attributes. You have a lot of those attributes. I remember working in Major League Baseball, and when it was cut down day, when it was the final cuts before spring training, and I'd ask each of the skippers that I worked with, okay, so what's it like? And they would all, to the man, the good ones would tell me, you got to be honest with somebody and tell them why you're sending them to AAA, why they didn't make the big club, and what they need to improve, because if you don't, then you didn't do them a favor. In fact, you did them a disservice, because they're going to go down there and just be bitter, wondering, how come I didn't make the club?
Absolutely. It's funny you say that. I tell my girls all the time, I love you so much that I'm going to tell you the truth. You know, I'm going to be totally honest with you, and you can be mad about it, but if I didn't love you so much, I would just not bother to say anything.
Again, life would be better if we acted more like we do in sports than we do in our own daily lives. All right, I'm gonna throw.
Sure.
I need to throw a little curve at you if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay. So this is going to be interesting. So, Debbie, for my entire career, I've been so fortunate that I've been around great coaches, and my family gets tired of me because I'll go, call football games, and I'll come back and I'm like, hey, just look what I just learned. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, we left without you. Or be comfortable being uncomfortable. Or Caitlin's taught me champions adjust. And I got a 21-year-old son who's at a service academy, and he's getting through all the tough math classes, and he'll call me and he'll go, Dad, I need a little coachism. I need you to coach me up right here. So I've used champions adjust. I've used lean back on your preparation. You prepped more than you really give yourself credit for. Give me something that Debbie Day preaches to her team and her girls on your softball team, and that are going to become women one day and be the next leaders in our country and our society. Is there something that you lean on in your coaching that you want to remind them to help them get through tough spots?
Yeah, I think, it's very common to hear today, but it really is applicable, is control the controllables, right? What those things you can control, we're going to focus on, but we're not going to waste time worrying about umpires' calls, what the other team does. We're not going to waste our time on worrying about things that are out of control. We're going to focus on the process, right? Remind yourself of how hard you've worked. Remind yourself of what you're good at. Remind yourself that you've done the time, and allow, your natural abilities, whether in the classroom or on the field, to take over, and trust those abilities, trust the process.
Control the controllables. Because, Debbie, in my life, there's times where I just I can't go to sleep at night because I'm worrying about things that aren't under my control,
Sure.
and it drives me batty. It drives me crazy. Last night I was sitting up thinking of, all right, what do I have to make sure that we have done getting ready for men's basketball for the Pac-12 title run they're going to try to go on. And one of the things I can't control is I don't know who they're going to play next because we were waiting to see what happens, Arizona State, Stanford. And I stayed up all night worrying about something I can't control. Is that common amongst people?
Well, I definitely amongst people, but I think with athletes too. We get so worked up on if the umpire makes a bad call, right?
Yeah.
It's out of our control, and then we're going to spend 3 innings being upset. And I'm like, the one bad call doesn't ruin the game. It's not adjusting, right? Not one error ruins a game. One error doesn't cost you a game. How many at bats did we have where we didn't get a run across? Did we make an error after that? Were we out for 3 plays? Like, we have to get back to, what am I good at? What do I need to do to be prepared? And then, the other thing I use a lot is enjoy the chaos a little bit. Like, sport is chaos. And to me, that's the fun part, not knowing what to expect, the not scripted out portion, right? Even though they should bunt here, they didn't bunt here. And all right, I got you. Here we go. And I think a lot of times with sports today, our kids want things more scripted out. And that makes me sad. It's the being on the fly that makes sports so much fun.
Control the controllables. And if I can't control it, it's out of my hands. Don't waste my mental energy or focus on something like that I can't control. Just move on to something else, and eventually it'll fall into place, and you can either control it or react to it. Is that kind of it?
Yes, absolutely. And how much time do we spend worrying about stuff that never even happens?
Get out of my mind. Get out of my head right now, because you're in my head right now, because I do that all the time.
Yeah.
This is great stuff. Okay. Last question we ask everybody. Listen, I'm enjoying this. Adia Barnes is going to come on in just a second. Adia's going to have to wait a minute because I'm too busy talking to you right now, because this is fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff. Okay, the last thing we ask, and now you are going to give us a different perspective than anybody else we've asked this question, because you're a softball coach at Cal Lutheran up in Thousand Oaks. Thousand Oaks?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
But you also work in the athletic department.
Yes.
So you have an administrative job, and you're a coach. So you get a little bit of both things. So the last thing we always ask our letter winners is, what can Tucson do to support this athletic department, this softball team in the university? So as far as, being an athletic director and a coach, you probably have a different perspective than maybe Dave Hickey or Caitlin, because you do both jobs at Cal Lutheran and really understand how this business works. So saying that, knowing that you're a former student athlete and a head coach and an administrator, how should fans try to support? What can they do to get behind and support these teams, help these student athletes, and it be that difference that brings championships back home?
Oh, that's a great question. And we're a D3. We've got less than 3,000 students, pretty small campus. But what I see is the Tucson fans have always been just so passionate and so amazing. And that's a great thing. But I think also sometimes it can come across a little judgmental, and it's so easy to Monday morning quarterback, right? Especially in this day and age where you see every play in slow motion 3 times after it happens and second-guessing coaches. And, I live in a little bit of a la-la world, I guess, where I'm the kind of fan that supports without tearing down others. And, I won't give you too hard a time about being a Giants fan, even though I'm a Dodgers fan.
Right.
But, I think it's because of their driving passion, how much they love their Arizona Wildcats, that, I've seen some posts that were difficult, even though you're college athletes and you're out in the spotlight. They really are kids, and they're navigating a whole lot at a pretty young adult age. And so I would just always caution fans to just keep in mind, would you want those kind of messages about your 18, 19-year-old son or daughter?
All right, Debbie Day joining us right now, one of the all-time greats, University of Arizona. She's also an administrator at Cal Lutheran, softball coach, Cal Lutheran. She played for Mike Andrea, and we were just asking her, what can fans do to support this team? And you pointed something out, that in the day and age of social media where we get to be anonymous and I can make up a Twitter handle and I can just start banging and pounding and grinding and bad-mouthing a student athlete, we forget that these are 18, 19-year-old. These are somebody's kids, right?
Yes.
And the pressure. I have a 21-year-old son. I understand the pressure that he's with, going to school, trying to get past physics and calculus 2 and terrestrial navigation, everything else he's doing. Then you look at he actually had to leave the baseball team. He's going to be able to rejoin after he takes his finals because he got his grades up. But I see all the pressure that these kids have on them, and I'm going to try to keep my composure here. I think about that soccer player at Stanford, and watching.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, just a second. Let me compose myself here. I saw her parents on television. They talked about the pressure that she had on her going to Stanford, academics, playing sports, and all the rest of these things that these kids deal with. The garbage that we throw at them in social media is disgusting, and I don't know if people understand what pressure these kids have outside, how much pressure they put on themselves, and then when you got your own fans just throwing garbage your way, I don't think people realize what it means to these young men and women that are playing Division I, II, III, NAIA, junior college, high school sports. They look at that stuff and how much it affects them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a daughter. I coach young women, and it doesn't matter, athlete or not. I'm not a fan of social media. I don't like what it has done to our children, specifically our daughters, more than others. Just the slightest things, body image, being able to show off everything, and then you tack on all the social pressures and all the normal pressures that every kid is under, and then boom, you put a spotlight on them and rip them apart. And I see athletes who only value themselves if they went 2 for 4 on the day, or if they threw a no-hitter. And and we're just heaping on so much pressure on these kids that I think they can't ever succeed enough, and that's just not why we put our kids into sports in the first place. And we spend a lot of time with that. We talk a lot about, why did your parents put you in softball in the first place? What did they want you to get out of it? And we kind of say, well, why? That's what we're here for. We need to do that.
Wow. I mean, I had my son play baseball, and I told him, you could stop playing whenever you want. It doesn't matter. I work in Major League Baseball, but that's not important. I just want you to learn some life lessons. I want you to get some confidence, and I want you to learn what it's like to lose and then get back up, dust yourself off, and get back in there and not quit. And that's the life lessons he's taken away. I don't have a daughter, but for those that are listening with daughters, or those that watch Caitlin's team or Adia's team or any of the rest of these teams, I don't know what it's like to be a dad. I don't know, a girl dad. But I got to imagine some of the stuff that we see on social media, so personal, so vicious.
Yes.
And then you couple that with body image of student athletes. It's something that I think we all need to pay attention to the mental well-being of these girls.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, the NCAA is starting to pay more attention to mental health and starting to put some things into effect. But I just think that, with University of Arizona, where our programs are so used to winning, right? We have such a rich history of championships and, across the board, not just national championships, but Pac-12 and tournaments and, Olympians and all that kind of stuff. And just walking into U of A as an athlete on any team raises your anxiety, right? Because you're there because you're the very best, but then you're going to be pushed to be even better. And I think, my concern for our young people going through that is just sometimes you're never going to match up to what fans expect, right? If you make an error, you're going to hear about it. If you strike out, they're going to say, why is so-and-so playing? And, it's hard enough to go through that. I'm so grateful that I was not around in the time of social media. But I'm raising my daughter. I treat my players like my own daughter. And so we have a lot of these conversations.
And I don't think it matters whether it's Division I, Power 5, Pac-12, Big Ten, whatever, down Division II, Division III, even the high schools, because it goes down to 12, 13, 14-year-old kids in high school that are getting this garbage thrown at them.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And to imagine that, you're not measuring up, even though you're giving it everything you have, and you're still learning. 18 years old, you walk in and, you're thrown in the spotlight, and we're expecting you to be perfect, and that's a lot of pressure.
Real quick before I let you go, I also want to ask from the coach's perspective. The coaches get paid a lot of money to be second-guessed by people like me on the radio.
Yeah.
But
sure.
What's it like when a coach gets second-guessed by your own fans? I mean, these are the people that are supposed to have your back. And listen, if you make a big mistake, you get paid enough money, you're going to get criticized. But sometimes when you're looking around and you need somebody to have your back, you're out there trying as hard as you can. And if something doesn't go your way, and all of a sudden your family, your fans that are supposed to be your extended family because they were standing there telling you how great you were last week, are ripping you to shreds the week after. What's that like for a coach?
I mean, I hope most coaches don't pay attention to it, don't get on social media. Most of my friends don't, because it's, it's so easy you can pick apart everything. So I think, lessons learned from coach, we'll circle back to that, is just being confident in who you are, know the decisions you're making. And I think we as college coaches have to remind ourselves of that. And, I think it tails back into that honesty piece too. I talk to my players when I have somebody not starting. I'll pull them aside and tell them why they're not starting that day. And fans don't know that. They don't know what's happened in practice. They really don't know injuries or who's been out or what's going on. And so we as coaches just have to remind ourselves that we're doing right by our programs. We know the big picture. And, I always feel like if I can look myself in the mirror at the end of the season and know that I gave everything I had to try and make our players into the best ball players and humans that we could possibly be, then win or lose, then I've done my job.
Debbie, I gotta thank you. I didn't mean to take this much of your time. By the way,
No,
I completely ruined the format of the radio show. We're going to be catching up the rest of the day. But I thought what you had to say was so important, and I wanted to go down that rabbit hole, especially when we're talking about the mental health and the well-being of the student athletes that we watch and we cheer for, and we're supposed to be their family. When they come to Tucson. And I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole, but thank you for going there with me and just kind of giving me, and hopefully some of our listeners, a little bit of a different perspective of how we do make a difference in these players' daily lives. And I'm going to be eternally grateful, and I just absolutely love you for doing this for me.
Well, thank you for including me today. I'm really complimented by your having me.
Absolutely. Debbie, will you come back on and we talk about more of things that we need to remember when it comes to these young men and women that come to our community, or again, like I said, you have a Division III school. My son plays Division III baseball. There's plenty of kids that go to Pima Junior College or go to Saddleback Junior College or Scottsdale. We need to talk about all these things as fans, so we remember the difference that we make in these kids' life, both good and bad. So I would welcome an opportunity to extend this conversation next time you come on with us.
Anytime. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Debbie Day joining us here. This is a special show, folks. This is why we do Wildcat Wednesday. I love this. I love Wednesdays when I get to talk with all these amazing people. So, Debbie, bear down. Thank you so much, and we're going to have you back on again real soon.
Sounds great. Go Cats.
There you go. Debbie Day joining us here on Wildcats Radio 1290. It can't be Wildcat Wednesday without the voice of the Arizona Wildcats, so we welcome to the program Brian Jeffries. Brian, good afternoon. Bear down.
Bear down, Rich. How's it going?
I am outstanding today. It's beautiful weather. We've got meaningful baseball coming up this weekend. We've got senior day on Saturday for baseball and softball. It's a pretty good time to be in Tucson.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to this weekend's baseball series as well. It's big for the Wildcats. They need some wins here over the last couple of weekends before the Pac-12 tournament, and they're facing, I think, arguably one of the best teams in the country, certainly, and maybe the best pitcher in the country in Cooper Jerpy on Friday night. That's going to be a show in itself. So it's going to be, I think, a great weekend. Certainly, I know a lot of people already have their tickets for it because it is the final weekend at home, and you're facing the first-place team in the Pac-12. And you need some wins here over the last couple weekends, so it's going to be fun.
We were talking to Michael Lev earlier this week about the Cats, and they lose the series to USC, who was the last-place team. It's funny that for the Cats, as good as they've been maddeningly inconsistent, losing to Washington State, losing to USC. So we asked Michael about the sense of urgency. I think the Cats are safe. They're going to make the tournament, but they do to make some hay to make sure they get the proper seed or get into the proper regional. How much urgency do you think is on Chip Hale's club coming into this series on Friday?
Well, I think they know the landscape and where they sit right now, and I think as of today they're safely in to the 64-team field. But they also have 6 really tough games left in the regular season, and then the Pac-12 tournament. So you're looking at 8 games minimum, and I just think that they need to go out and show some things. And you're right. I mean, they have been inconsistent. They've had times this season they've hit the ball extremely well. They've had times this season where they pitched well. Right now they haven't committed error in 5 straight games, longest stretch of the season. So they found their defense, which for a while there was very poor, and I think they're still ranked at or near the bottom in terms of fielding percentage in the Pac-12. But trying to put those 3 phases together has been the most difficult part for this team this year. And they've got the capabilities. They showed it early in the season. Garrett Irvin was talking earlier today about exactly that. If you go back early in the season, and they were hitting well, they were pitching well, they were defending well, and they got off to that great start. And now it's really the second half of the season that they haven't been able to put all 3 phases together. And so this is going to be a critical weekend to do that. You're at home. You need to take care of your home field. It doesn't matter if it's first place Oregon State or somebody else. You need to win this series, and I think that's vitally important, and then give them some momentum going to Oregon next week, and that's not going to be easy as well. And then you've got the Pac-12 tournament, and no one's ever played in an event like this before. So, how you attack that, I know that's one thing Chip Hale and his staff are working on right now is, how do they line up their pitching when they get to Scottsdale, et cetera. So there's a lot of baseball left to be played. And if this team can get it all back together, and I think they're capable of doing that, Rich, then they got some great things ahead.
The saying around Arizona baseball is pressure is a privilege. And it's funny because we're talking about, the Cats so inconsistent, the Cats this. The expectations are so high for Arizona baseball. Other schools might just be happy, hey, we're getting into the postseason tournament. We're going to go to the NCAA baseball tournament. For Arizona, the standards are so high that, we expect to host regionals and super regionals, and going to Omaha is not an option. It's the only thing that matters. And so it's so interesting that when you get to this point of the season, Cats will go to the postseason, but we still want a little bit more.
Well, you do, and you're right. I mean, the expectations have been high for decades based on this program and all that it's done over the years, and so you always, going into every season, expect them to be there. They don't have to win the Pac-12 championship, but you expect them to be in a position to make postseason play, and they're in that position right now. So I don't know that there's a lot of pressure on the guys. I think that, in talking to the players, they're disappointed in the way they played lately. They know they can play better. They don't feel that they've lost any confidence, so to speak. They feel like they can still go out and get it done. Like I said, they just need to get some of that consistency back again. And so, I think that going into this weekend, they're probably looking at it the same way I am, and that is that, hey, you're taking on the number 2 team in the nation, or number 1, depending on what poll you look at, the Pac-12 leader, a team that's going to host a regional, that will be a top 8 seed that will host a super regional if they advance. They're one of the favorites to make it to Omaha and maybe win it all. So this is your chance now to go out and show what you're made of, and make an impression on the selection committee. I think that's really important this time of the year. And it used to be where when you finish the season, they really looked at that closely. And now I think in basketball and baseball and softball, et cetera, they look at your body of work, which is good for the Wildcats because they played a tougher schedule this year. They played a lot of teams that are going to be in postseason play. But that's why it's important, I think, to take care of your home field this weekend and then see what you can do next week at Oregon before you get to Scottsdale and try and get a higher seed. I know D1 baseball has dropped Arizona to a 3 seed now, whatever region they go to. And, you just want to be in position. You want to get there. I don't think it really matters what seed you're in. You just want to get there and show what you can do. So that's why I feel these last couple of weeks are really valuable.
By the way, reminder to everybody, Senior Day coming up for Arizona baseball. Half a dozen seniors will be honored before the game on Saturday, and Arizona Senior Day for softball on Saturday as well, with 4 seniors being honored by Arizona softball, which brings me to this, Brian Jeffries. We're getting another year older because a bunch of 17-year-old kids that we saw walk on to campus at the University of Arizona are now leaving as adults. I mean, how many graduating classes have you seen come and go? And, this is the weekend that some of the parents probably stop by and go, hey, thank you for broadcasting my kid's game.
Well, it's, what the amazing thing is when you see a lot of the parents that, maybe played at Arizona before. That's the thing that always, surprises me that,
right.
May have sons there. I mean, George Arias is a good example. And we've had others through the years where their parents have played at the U of A and now their sons come here. And, yeah, it's a special day for them. And, the COVID year has kind of thrown everybody out of whack here in terms of seniors. You've got guys now that are eligible even though, they don't have to be necessarily because of that COVID year. And so it's difficult. I know talking to Chip Hale and every coach has this same situation they've run into now is that you've got more seniors than you normally have simply because of that COVID year, and it's really changed recruiting, et cetera. So, yeah, you got more this year than you might see. And because some of them, because they didn't count that 1 year, they put in their time. And then you've got the draft-eligible juniors, you've got draft-eligible sophomores, and that's the thing about college baseball. It's an ever-changing season, and I know that's the toughest part of coaching. I think college baseball is trying to keep up with recruiting. But anyway, to your point, yeah, it's great to see these guys that have been in the program 3. I mean, a few of them have been there 4. Most of them have been there 3 or transferred in, like Garrett Urban. And it's just nice to see how they've matured. And now you send them out into the world and you wish them well, be it in professional baseball or whatever their careers might be. But, yeah, I'll just tell you a side note on that, Rich. We were in L.A. this weekend, and gentlemen, I hear this voice from the side of the press box, calling my name, and I turned to look over, and it's not a former baseball player. It was Willie Tuitama, former quarterback at Arizona. And there he is at the game, rooting on the Wildcats. And that's what's neat is when you run into guys that have been – part of the program. It doesn't matter what sport it is. When you see them later in life and as successful as they've all become, it's really fun. So, like I said, it happens in all sports. I know baseball is the same, and we'll see a lot of those former players this weekend.
Is it surreal for you when you see a former Arizona Wildcat, like let's say Brian Anderson? You saw him in the big leagues. You see him coaching. You see Andre Iguodala with the Warriors. You see DeAndre Ayton playing in the NBA playoffs. Is that surreal for you to see these kids that you called their games? Now they go on to the next level, playing on the biggest stages.
Oh, absolutely. And you never know. Sometimes I just got a call the other day asking about a player, and I won't name him or the person that called me, but they wanted to know my opinion. Do you think so-and-so, has a chance to play professionally? And tell me about him. And peppered me with a bunch of questions. And I said, look, I'm not qualified to tell you if a guy is going to be able to play pro sports or not. I just enjoy watching them play. I mean, maybe the best example is a young kid by the name of Tyler McGill, when he pitched at Arizona, if you would have asked me if he would be the ace of the New York Mets staff, I would have told you you're crazy. Because, again, in my, just in my outlook, I said, no, I'm just not sure that, he's got everything. He had the physical talent to do it. I just know if he had the makeup to do it. And now here he is just having a phenomenal year with the Mets. And so you just never know sometimes when guys go through the program if they're going to end up in pro sports or they're going to do something else. But it's fun watching them grow up. And, you mentioned like DeAndre Ayton, and, I'll never forget. I mean, it was a very short career at Arizona, but he was one of the more fun guys to be around just because he was having fun. He was having the time of his life. And then you enjoy watching him play in the pros and knowing, you get to know those guys a little bit, and you're so happy for them that they have a chance to achieve that goal of playing at the highest level.
Wow, it is something special. And it's going to be interesting. Who will Tucson root for if the Suns and the Warriors end up in the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. I mean, if you got a Wildcat on each team and you got Steve Kerr coaching one of them, I don't know how that works. You'd have to. That's a good poll question for you, Rich. Who are you going to root for between those two? I mean, I think that just based on our location, the Suns probably have more fans, but I know the Warriors have a great following amongst Wildcats as well. I mean, I remember we were at this past season at a Warriors game, and there were a lot of Arizona fans there, and they're there to watch Iggy and Steve and Q and everybody that's on the staff.
It's interesting. I was in Bob Dobbs during one of the Warriors playoff games last week. And, boy, you would have thought the Cats were playing the way that people were just gnashing their teeth and crossing their fingers and pacing. It was a lot of fun. So that's going to be interesting when we get the two in the if that indeed comes to fruition and you get both of them in the Western Conference Finals. How does Tucson react? Do they get people with wearing a Warriors hat and a Suns DeAndre Ayton jersey, or the other way around? So that'll be fun. Brian, thank you so much for joining us. I will see you Friday. We'll be out there broadcasting live from in front of High Corbett Field. We're hoping for a huge crowd. I know we will. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Brian will have the call. And then next week, he's got a Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the final games of the season on the road up in Eugene. Brian Jeffries, voice of the Arizona Wildcats, joining us here at 1290. Brian, bear down. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rich. We'll see you.
All right, take care. Brian Jeffries joining us here on 1290. Coming up, we'll give you the big story of the day, and then we're giving you a triple shot of Wildcat Wednesday. Who's coming up, Dragon Ball?
That would be Bennett Davison.
You know what? That's the best. That's the biggest contribution you've had for the program today.
Saying
you
that?
redeemed yourself.
All right.
Good job. We'll continue with you. This is 1290. I make a heck of a burger. I will tell you that right now. What's going on today? Here's what you need to know. NBA playoffs. Suns thumped the Mavericks last night. Oh, so where's all the talk of Luka, greatest player in the NBA, should be the MVP? In fact, I think he got ripped off. He should have got more votes.
Well, he certainly led the way in fifth place voting.
How many first place votes did he get?
0.
How many second place votes did he get?
1.
Who would have voted for him for second place?
I don't know.
How many votes did he get in third place?
Third place, he got 0.
How many fourth place votes?
32.
How many fifth place votes?
43. The most among the 5 finalists.
What place did he come in?
He came in 5th. He came in dead 5th on that one.
Lo siento mucho, por favor.
Above him was Devin Booker, Giannis, Joel, and Jokic with the highest amount of first place votes.
Wow. Well, they got thumped last night. He had 24, something like that, I think. I wrote it down. He had 28. Booker had 28. Ayton had 20. Brunson had 21. But the Suns just ran him off the floor. It wasn't even pretty.
No.
Heat did the same to the 76ers, although your idea of Joel Embiid with the concussion getting smushed in the face with the basketball wearing the Phantom of the Opera mask was pretty impressive in your mind. W's can close out the Dubs. Dub Nation, baby! I say that because Dragon Ball hates when they're called the Dubs. Dub Nation can close out Memphis tonight on the road. Steve Kerr will not be there. Coach is back in the Bay Area. Didn't go with the team to Memphis. Maybe he flies out, but he's in COVID protocols. So Mike Brown, the head coach of the Sacramento Kings,
soon to be head
coach.
So
I wonder if they will, if the Kings fans will get Warriors championship jerseys and T-shirts and stuff the same way the Lions fans did because of Matthew Stafford.
I don't think so, only because Lions fans had a connection to Matthew Stafford for almost a decade.
Well, this is the closest the Kings are going to get.
Well, yeah, but they have yet to even meet Mike Brown as their head coach.
All right, 3 cats are going to the NBA, or invited to the NBA Combine. Benedict Mathurin, Christian Coloco, now Dalen Terry. Coloco Mathurin probably will not compete in the Combine. James Akinjo goes to the G League Elite Camp with an opportunity that he can be invited up to the NBA Combine. By the way, Dalen Terry invited as well. He has until June 1st to withdraw his name or go into the NBA draft. Cats have senior day for softball, baseball this Saturday. Coming up next, Dragon Ball will update you what's going on in the Boston-Milwaukee series. Some hockey games going on right now. And who else is coming up on the program for Wildcat Wednesday?
Bennett Davison.
The trifecta of Wildcats today on 1290.